For the week of Monday, November 26, 1990. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain, here to reflect on Thanksgiving traditions that abound in the world of motorsports. We're going to show you the holiday action on two wheels down in sunny Florida and share the sad news of a Thanksgiving weekend death in one of racing's most famous families. But we begin with the end of an era, the final curtain for a racetrack that truly deserves the overworked adjective. California was the pride and joy of the late J.C. Agajanian, promoter, car owner, a motorsports mover and shaker in the 50s and 60s. Aggie opened Ascot in 1957. Now the lease is up. An office will be built there. The track closed on a traditional note with its annual Thanksgiving night race. The USAC Midget starred in the finale. It was the 22nd running of this, the Turkey Night Classic. Old-timers like Mel Kenyon helped swell the field to over 100 drivers. At the back gate, pit pass sales were booming, and JC's kid figured Dad would have been pretty pleased with this swan song.
I believe he's looking down right now on this track, and I think he's saying, you guys did a good job. The place looks great. The crowd is fabulous. And Dad, this one's for you.
Well, old Aggie would have been on his feet for hot laps in qualifying. Tom DuPont hits Russ Gilmore, who flips, then sits, and then gets rear-ended by Keith Roush. Clunk. And in time trials, Eric Gordon discovered the legendary Ascot traction up high. His turn one bicycle turned into a four-time tumble, but he was okay. One more from the last chance race. Watch the blue car in the middle, Steve Osling, running over the back of Ronnie Day and triggering a multi-flip affair that also sidelined Johnny Colfer, James Clapp, and Steve Knepper. Just before the main, JC's 52 Indy winner rolled out with son Chris instead of Troy Ruttman at the wheel. For years, Agajanian's widow, Faye, just couldn't come here. Too many memories, but she came tonight and posed with the new Midget Hall of Famer, Parnelli Jones. And with that, the crowd came to its feet for the last race at Ascot. P.J. Jones jumped out front. Billy Boat backed her into the turn 3 wall. We'll catch the action here. His 17-second sprint car lap is going to stand as the fastest ever turned here. He didn't do so well in the midget. Up front, Stan Fox moved in to challenge Jones at halfway, made the pass on the bottom in 3 and 4. The throttle-stomping veteran from Janesville, Wisconsin, then made it stick in 1 and 2 using the top of the racetrack. Stanley had set a track record for the midgets in qualifying and appears to have this place wired tonight. Meantime, the 6-time winner Ron Schumann dropped a valve. He, Chuck Gurney, and A.J. Foyt, the only winners of consecutive Turkey Night Classics. With that, Fox off turn 4, full lock, and taking the final Ascot checker.
This is the last one. It pays the best. We got a new track record qualifying, and Steve just pulled out all the stops. He gave me a brand new car, and we've been working on this program all year long for Turkey Night, and he's been threatening he might retire, so now I got to go back and see if he quits me. It might turn out to be bad, but no, if I had to ever win one, this is the one to win right here.
And as the fans scooped up souvenir dirt, Kerry Agajanian summed up the story.
I hope we're back together someplace next year, but in any event, it was a good run. Thank you.
The ability to win the big one is one criterion we always consider in selecting our racer of the week. There was no bigger one to win this week than the Ascot finale, and Stan Fox gets the nod as Motorweek Illustrated Racer of the Week. We'll have more on Ascot a little later. Meanwhile, the builder who plans to level the place already has offices sitting empty within sight of the racetrack. Now, that has led some observers to hope there might be a reprieve for the track and at least some hope for racing there next year. The Agajanian family have repeatedly denied that. They did so again Thursday night, and they continue to search Southern California for a site to build a replacement track. Now, for many who shared in the Southern California racing weekend, the nostalgic mood was shattered on Sunday by tragic news. Young Billy Vukovich, third-generation racer, past Indy 500 Rookie of the Year, died Sunday morning during practice for a CRA Sprint car race in Bakersfield. Vukovich was hot lapping for the next to last race of the year when his throttle apparently stuck open and the car swerved into the wall. He was rushed to nearby Kern Medical Center with massive head injuries and pronounced dead a short time later. In 1988, Billy upstaged his fellow sons of famous racing fathers, Al Unser Jr. and Mike Andretti, by becoming the third Vukovich to race in Indianapolis. He finished 14th, earning rookie honors. In '89, he ran 12th. In 1990, 24th. The 500 produced 3 of Billy's 7 IndyCar starts, resulting in nearly $500,000 in earnings. While he waited for his IndyCar dreams to gel, Vukovich dominated West Coast Supermodified racing. In '87, he won the USAC Supermod, including a stretch of 7 in a row at one point to tie a record held by A.J. Foyt. 3 generations of the Vukovich family have given their all to motorsports. Now 2 of those generations have paid with their lives. Grandfather Bill Vukovich won the Indy 500 in 1953 and 54. He was leading early in the 55 race when he ran into the crash cars of Roger Ward and Johnny Boyd and flipped off the track to his death. The next year, Bill Vukovich, Billy's father, made his debut, raced Indy cars for 12 years, won Rookie of the Year at the Speedway in '68. He was second in '73 and then retired. During a visit by father and son to Motorweek, I asked Bill about his thoughts while watching Billy race.
Dad, the story says that even though you had no qualms yourself about your own racing, that you did, along with Mom, have some reservations about the kid trying it. True or false? Is that just press release stuff?
Yeah, no, it is true. I don't really enjoy watching Billy race. I mean, it gets so bad for me that I get concerned. He's my boy. In the Copper Classic, he won it a couple, 3 times, and I think in those 2 years that I were there, I think I seen him actually run a total of 4 or 5 laps in the race. I just go down and I hide and I walk around in between motorhomes, and when he qualified at Indy this year, I went back in the garage and turned on the radio, and I'm concerned about his safety.
Billy Vukovich III was 27 years old. Weekend racing classics, the Turkey Derby, which hosted the pavement-modified stars of the Northeast for the 17th time. Phil Van Horn has the story.
Fans flocked to New Jersey's Wall Stadium long after other area tracks are closed for the winter. And this year they were treated to some wild turkey. First lap, watch the meet in that 3-wide sandwich as John Blewett tangles with Ed Brunhosel and spears the pit entrance right on the driver's side door. Nasty-looking wreck, but after a long delay, Blewett climbed out and headed for the hospital for observation. As the crowd held its breath for Blewett, you noticed another major retirement as Reggie Ruggiero in the yellow 44 pulls off the track. Tough day for the Tomeno family. Newly crowned NASCAR mod champion Jamie struggled en route to 12th place on his old home track, while brother Greg got caught up with a spinning 20 of Jeff Jones, tearing up both cars and sidelining both drivers without injury. It was a big day for Spins. Defending Derby champ Marty Truex carved himself a couple of holiday donuts, while 6-time track champ Tony Siscone had one that confused everyone. Siscone limped to the pits to change a flat tire, then fell a lap down, waiting to rejoin the fray. The 6-time former track champ then ran down the 22 of race leader Lenny Boyd.
I remembered that he went in the pits, and I was pretty sure he was a lap down. But I'll tell you, that makes you think. That makes you do some real hard thinking.
Siscone finally got by and convinced everyone he was the race leader, all except the official score. The checkers finally wave over Boyd's second Turkey Derby win.
Yeah, I thought I was in the lead lap. My radio man told me, we had a yell there when I was sitting back in about the 10th car after we went to the rear. He said we're in the lead lap, go for it. The car was super hooked. I mean, it was just unbelievable. I thought I won the race. We pulled into victory lane up there, and 2 guys were saying stop. 2 guys said go ahead. So I pulled up, and then I stopped. Then finally they waved me, and Lenny pulled in victory lane. So it was a real disappointment.
He was pushing me all the way down the straightaway. There was no way I could have held him off. So even if he was in the lead lap, he deserved to win. But it's a shame he was down a lap. He was the fastest car.
I'm Phil Van Horn for Motorweek Illustrated.
All right, thank you, Phil. Now here's some interesting news. North Dakota sprint car hero Doug Wolfgang is going road racing in 1991. In addition to the World of Outlaw Tour, the Wolf will compete in the American IndyCar Series, which campaigns both paved ovals and road courses. The Denver-based American School of Motor Racing, which had an AICS team last year, will field Wolf's cars for both series, with sponsors soon to be announced. Now, Doug says rear-engined racers are about the only thing he's never driven, and he's anxious to give it a try. Well, the death of Bill Vukovich spoiled an otherwise exciting CRA Sprint car race Sunday in Bakersfield that featured the next-to-last round in the title fight between defending defending champ Ron Schumann and the challenger Rip Williams. Just 2 races remaining and only 11 points separating the two. Schumann considered the favorite on pavement, but Williams has kept the heat on, and a good showing here could keep the crown well within his grasp. Williams was impressive in the feature, leading for a time before Jimmy Sills took charge. Williams would slip to 4th when USAC's newly crowned midget champ Jeff Gordon drove by on his way to the lead. And where is Schumann? Well, he drove a relatively quiet race in 4th, unable to catch 3rd place Williams. Gordon wins, Sills 2nd, title contenders taking 3rd and 4th. Schumann adds 4 points to his slim advantage over Williams with 1 race remaining on the schedule. And one more West Coast note: after closing down Ascot Park Thursday night, the USAC midgets went up to Alesandro for the season's finale. That was won by Keith Roush. Jeff Gordon had put the championship pretty well out of reach before going out to California for the weekend. He hopes to carry that resume item into the stock car world next year. Still ahead, you'd like to be a big-time racer? We'll tell you all about how to do it. Tradition in the motorcycle world that has been honored for 19 consecutive years now. It takes an awful lot of food, 25 turkeys and 10 hams to be exact, to feed 1,500 members of the motocross family who journey from all over the country to Gatorback Motocross Park in Gainesville, Florida. For the better part of a week, the racing starts at the crack of dawn every day. And it continues until the afternoon light begins to fade on the western horizon, and that action is wild. Number 17 in yellow, Ezra Lusk, his front wheel taken out from under him, but the Georgia youngster came back to win the prestigious Golden Goggle Award. For racers and would-be racers, this is the last big fling of the season. One last shot at the trophy and the glory. Every year, we come and we cover this event, and every year, these guys are my heroes. As you'll see, the Pee Wee division, featuring 50cc motorcycles, has something in common with the big kid classes, but in addition, it has Pee Wee dads who come running at the first sign of trouble. Johnny Marley has no trouble at all. He got a pint-sized hole shot and hit the cruise control. But back at the starting area, it is chaos, especially for little Stevie Martin, who can't find the racetrack despite directions being screamed at him from behind by his increasingly hysterical father. This way, Stevie, this way. As the Pee Wee parade leaves poor Stevie further and further behind, he finally finds the on-ramp only to discover that he's still going the wrong direction. But perseverance is a youthful virtue, and the North Carolina youngster and his dad finally get on the same wavelength, and Stevie zips past the checkered flag just in front of the winner Marley, and that enables him to stay on the lead lap. Congratulations, kid. ESPN's Larry Myers was there. He talked to Johnny Marley about his experience at this sort of thing.
How many trophy girls have you kissed?
Johnny, they say the first time is always the best. Congratulations to your Pee Wee winner. They established a pattern of bashfulness here with the trophy girls. For example, the Golden Goggle winner, Lusk, well, he submitted to the kiss, but note that he got it wiped off before he cleared the stage. Congratulations to all the kids. Now, do you harbor secret fantasies of becoming a stock car racer? Well, all it takes is talent and money, and your dreams could all come true. Bill Weber has the story of NASTRAC, a big driver talent search featuring the most famous stock car racer of them all. Shirley Muldowney gave us a call last week. Shirley was concerned that our report on the demise of Larry Minor's Top Fuel drag racing team made it sound like she'd been fired. Well, for the record, the 3-time world champion and her teammate Dick LaHaye were both left high and dry when sponsorship deals ran out. Minor couldn't come up with replacements and was forced to park the cars. The good news is Shirley, a former Motorweek Racer of the Year, plans to roll out her own car for the season opener at Pomona next February. And there has been a new development in our story last week about next year's looming shortage of nitro funny cars. It has not been officially announced, but International Hot Rod Association President Ted Jones confirms the IHRA will drop that class completely in 1991. And now to Chris Economaki, editor-publisher of National Speed Sport News, and his IndyCars.
The form of the sport where technology has probably had the most effect is IndyCar racing. 120 man-hours of work are required to get a car adjusted from one race to the next, and that's when nothing's wrong with it. I'm with Mario Andretti. His chief mechanic said that between Cleveland and the Meadowlands, they changed front wings, rear wings, shock absorbers, springs, gear ratios, sway bars, ride height, pitch, brake cooling, engine cooling, and in the cockpit, Mario takes care of things like brake balance, boost, and bump adjustment. Mario, what has the advent of technology meant to the man at the wheel?
Well, a lot more work. You know, in fact, the driver can help himself more than he could before by adjusting the car during the race itself. But besides chassis adjustments, you have to deal with the mixture to be able to get the best power and the best mileage at the same time, and also the boost factor. So, like I said, you have all sorts of knobs and numbers to look at.
Why so many adjustments?
Well, because that's the way these things are. You know, you just have to check and double check everything, and it's an endless job. It's an endless job. As long as I've been in the business, it still somewhat takes me a little bit just by seeing how much work goes into it.
What about the man at the wheel today compared to the man at the wheel 15 years ago? Does he have to know a lot more about things mechanical?
Well, you have to know, yes, for sure you have to know a lot more, because I think 25 years ago there were a lot less adjustments, a lot less things you could deal with. Now you have the mechanical side and the aerodynamic side, and that's, you know, that's a mouthful right there, because if you're trying to cure a mechanical problem with aerodynamics, that's a no-no. You have to be able to distinguish the two, and that's the real trick.
Mario, if there was one adjustment on a car that could kill you or make you a champion, what would it be?
Any little adjustment. I can give you a minute damper adjustment on a bumper rebound that can take you out of the ballpark by about 0.4 of a second at a given time. That's what's frightening for us.
Okay, you can see where Mario Andretti, as fast as he is, can occasionally get frightened. That's it for IndyCar racing.
All right, thank you, Chris. A technological leap is in store for one of America's most venerable thunderboats. Miss Madison will swap her old-fashioned piston engines for turbine power next year. Those new motors will be supplied through a deal with the Miss Budweiser team. And in a remarkable example of medical technology, Italian doctors now predict a complete recovery for Grand Prix race driver Alesandro Nannini, whose arm was severed in a helicopter crash and then surgically reattached. In fact, after studying videotape of Formula One drivers in action, those doctors are now confident Nannini will eventually return to the cockpit, though they stopped short of offering a timetable for that return. When we return, we'll have one last farewell to Ascot Park. In the 33 years since J.C. Agajanian first threw open its doors, Ascot Park has provided a stern test for drivers and riders in a variety of racing disciplines. As Ascot closes its doors for the final time, let's recall some of the action that made the place famous.